Welcome back, everybody. Time now for a little free therapy session. You like free therapy?
Yeah.
Me too. The kids are back in class, but, making friends, it isn't always easy.
Yes, and, sometimes we want to get really involved, and I know we shouldn't.
I don't know. I remember some parents back when I was in school, they would knock on the door and say, "Can you be my kid's friend?" And I'm like, I don't know if that works that way.
So joining us to talk more about this is Dr. Laura Saunders. She is a child psychologist with the Institute of Living, and she's here for our free therapy Wednesday. Hi, doctor.
Hello, friends. Happy rainy Wednesday.
Happy rainy Wednesday is right. My goodness gracious. How are you?
I am well.
All right. Now, making friends, with the pandemic, they were isolated. With the phones, they're isolated. Is it much more difficult these days to make a friend than it was in the past?
It definitely is. And really, one thing that research shows is that the ability to make friends, the ability to create social connections is absolutely necessary, and it's a lifelong skill. It's one of the most important developmental tasks for tweens and teens. It's actually a little easier for children because children play, right? And there's always a lot of interaction that happens with play, but it's a little harder for tweens and teens. It's much harder after periods of isolation and when most of your interactions are on a screen.
Yeah. So the good thing is, I love you said, it's a learned skill, which means we can get better at it. So as parents, you say one thing we can do is probably not go and knock on the door and say, be my kid's friends, but we can model how to be a good friend and model positive relationships.
Right. Knocking on the door of another person's house is like being a lawnmower parent. You're just going to bowl down any of the problems. So, but going in and really encouraging your child, saying, do you want to invite Mary over to play this afternoon? Or, do you want me to set up a time for you to play with someone else or get together? Now, again, with tweens and teens, you're not setting anything up. But what you can do as parents is model social behaviors, right? If you are an isolated parent and you're telling your child to develop friendships, it's going to be a mixed message. So the more you can model positive and healthy social relationships, the better it is for your tweens and teens.
But does that mean modeling just with your spouse, or do we need to be, I think, we all wish we could be a little more social, but people get busy. Is that one of the things you think we should do, is try and make sure we're inviting friends over to just quote unquote hang out so that kids see that?
I think it's a little bit of both. And actually what often happens in a developmental framework for adults is that many of your friends actually have children the same age.
Yeah.
So the more you create those sort of like family relationships or close family relationships with other families who have children the same age, the more you're promoting social connections and social relationships. So it really works both ways.
And you say encourage open communication. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, if your child is struggling, if your child's feeling isolated or really having a difficult time in establishing social connections and friendships, you actually do want to know, right? And because remember, a friendship really is not a perfectly linear event. There are conflicts, there are miscommunications, there are times where you feel left out, and then how do you communicate? Wow, I really wish you had invited me when you went out to the park to skateboard, right? To be able to do those things really requires a lot of open communication, and parents can help with that, but they sometimes need to know what's going on with their teen and tween.
So this is a big question, and we only have a minute left, so we can continue it on Kara's Cures on the podcast. But what do you do when you're the parent and finds out that the other kids in the friend group are being mean to your kids? They're excluding them, or maybe they all went out and now your child is at home sad.
Right. So it's a couple of things. It is a little bit of problem solving, like, why do you think they didn't invite you? Or have they invited you other times and you said no? So now they assume that you're going to say no, right? So you want to kind of get at the background of it. Or if it's been a chronic problem, you say, you know what? Let's help you focus on finding another friend. Let's look at another class or activity or sport that you're doing, and let's help you find another connection. There are times where we need to shift sets and look for other friends and friend groups. The most important thing is one friend. One friend is a positive social experience.
You don't need a million. Okay.
You don't need a million. I got Kara.
Yes.
And my mother's paying you, so I hope
She did knock
I've
on
got
my
character.
door.
she did knock on our door. Thank you, doctor.
Have a great day.
You too.
All right, we're going to be more in depth. You can download the Kara's Cures podcast on Apple, Spotify, and of course, follow me. I'll post it on social media.